Creepos.
That's right. This is the part of the show where we get real petty and we talk about other true crime podcasts and why they suck and why we're the best.
They're the worst.
And we've been presenting a variety of true crime podcasts since we've been doing the Who Are These Creepos portion of the show. Some huge shows that make a lot of money. Some not so big shows with a couple of girls drinking wine and reading Wikipedia. This one is, I will say this, near and dear to my heart, Vinny.
All right.
This is a podcaster who I've come in contact with. This is a person who tried to ruin my life. I am speaking about...
Oh, you're going to get us canceled, goddammit.
Marissa Jones and The Vanished. Now, I reviewed this show on Who Are These Podcasts about 5 years ago.
Happy Halloween.
And I had tens of thousands of people try to get me fired from my job because this woman has no sense of humor and thinks that she is saving the world with her stupid fucking podcast that is boring as shit. Let me play for you. This is what she thinks she's doing.
Someone doesn't want him found because if he's found, it opens Pandora's box to all of the other things that were going on. And that's why we need help from the people that listen to your podcast.
This woman thinks by talking to family members of people who have disappeared that she's going to find them. She's not. She never will. She doesn't have that big of a reach. And even if she did, these people are lost for a reason. And this is the thing that I was trying to say the last time I reviewed this show. Some people just want to be gone. They don't want to be around their family anymore or their friends. Maybe they committed some type of crime and they changed their identity and they get the fuck out of town. And this woman acts like every person who's lost is a victim. Not true. Some people just want to be lost.
All right. I can agree with that.
And this is interesting because they're talking about this person who disappeared in 1994. So this is 20 years ago. I mean, this is, 30.
Right.
30 years ago. This person is, you're not going to find this person. This is 30 years ago. But let's set the table for what 1994 was.
1994 was the year of The Lion King, which went on to be the highest-grossing animated film of all time. Ace of Base was at the top of the charts with their hit, The Sign. It was also the year that Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Goldman were murdered, and O.J. Simpson took police on that infamous police chase. For the Green family, 1994 was the year that changed the trajectory of their entire lives.
Oh, boring. Boring.
The way she presents is awful. I can't believe this is a professional podcast.
If Ace of Base is not the subject of your true crime podcast, there's no reason to bring them up.
Oh, also, 1994, there was a guy named Nelson Mandela who became president of South Africa. You didn't bring that up. What are you, racist? Why didn't you bring that up, Marissa Jones?
That was the biggest story of the year.
That's the story of 1994, Marissa Jones. The fuck's your problem? All right, that's silly. Anyway, so this woman is terrible at presenting. She's so fucking boring. And her show format is she just lets family members of people who are missing talk.
So she doesn't remind them about how missing their person is in the middle of it like Nancy Grace does?
Dude, this is not a show format. This is the laziest podcaster. She pretends like she's solving problems. She's not doing any of that. She's just profiting from people's misery. And by the way, they always blame the police. Every episode I've heard of this show, the police didn't do what they needed to fucking do. I'm going to murder Shuli's fucking buddy, Vinny. He's texted me 3,000 times in the last 5 minutes. And he's fucking out of control. I need to block this
Who
asshole.
Is he?
Vinny the attorney. He just fucking texted. Shut the fuck up, asshole.
Is that what's happening during the show
yes!
right now?
Yes.
Is he texting you about the show?
No. He's never texted me about the show. Anyway, sorry. I'm getting very distracted. I'm on a thread with Shuli and Vinny, and neither of them will stop fucking texting. I feel like I'm hanging out with 15-year-old girls right now. Anyway, let's get back to the show format.
Must be nice to get a text from Shuli.
This is
never right.
This is some lazy ass podcasting right here.
Call me in the morning, go do whatever, you're going to do or whatever, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. And my sister grabbed the phone and she hung it up.
It was sometime shortly after this call with Jared that he ultimately disappeared. He was such a special person in Shannon's life, and life simply would never be the same without him.
Vinny, this is what this show is for an hour.
It's really not. You're right. It's not a format.
No.
It's basically just designed to make people feel bad.
Correct. And this woman doesn't present well. She has no charisma at all.
How did she get? Well, that's the thing. What's that old expression about how like the more biting the humor, the smaller the audience? If you could just be as boring and as shitty as possible, maybe that's the secret to all of it.
You know what? Honestly, I think the reason why Marissa Jones, because I know a little bit about this because I had a conversation with Mike Boudet about it. Oh, by the way, that was a drop. But anyway, Marissa Jones is one of these people who got into true crime podcasting very early on.
Uh-huh.
And when Serial came out and the whole genre exploded, she was one of the podcasts that was available. And that's why she's done so well, because she's terrible at it. She doesn't broadcast well. Her show format sucks. She acts like she's a journalist, interviewing people whose family member went missing and not talking to the police, not talking to anyone who like was maybe an enemy of that person, just getting one side of the story and presenting it like, this is the facts. Like, no, this is not the facts, Marissa.
Yeah, you can never trust the family
No!
of someone who disappeared. Most of the time, as you may have pointed out earlier, they're the problem.
Correct. A lot of the times, these people are like, I hate my family. I'm getting the fuck out of here. And then she talks to the family like, oh, that person never would have left. Well, maybe they would have. Maybe you don't know.
It's also one of those situations where the people that are always suspected by the police are always the people who are in the immediate vicinity. And if somebody was murdered, odds are it was someone very close to them most of the time.
Right.
So it's probably one of the family members.
Good
How
point.
many secret murderers do you think
Good
she's had
point.
on who's just pointing fingers at other people?
Oh, please help us find this person. I mean, he's probably not in my backyard. Probably not.
I've looked everywhere.
Yeah.
I already checked my backyard. Definitely not back
Yeah, don't
there.
check there. Don't check there. It's definitely not there.
I checked. It's all
so
clear.
she's talking to a woman who was dating this guy, Jared Green, who's been missing since 1994. And this woman runs out of things to say about this guy very quickly.
He would write me letters that were just so kind, and he would make me homemade cards, and this is a teenage guy, I mean, he was just always surprising me. I mean, always.
That's fascinating. Please go on.
Oh, yeah? He made you a homemade card?
Yeah.
Wow.
Couldn't get a job.
What a fuck. Yeah. Wow. What a compelling story
Fucking Romeo.
about this 18-year-old. So they present it as if like this poor kid, just a nice guy, all of a sudden, one day, they find his car in a Walmart parking lot and he's nowhere to be found. But then there's like weird things like this that come up.
When Shannon spoke to Jared, he was clearly upset and scared about something. It would later come out that Jared had loaned a friend a gun, and on the evening of his disappearance, he asked for the gun back. Jared stated that he needed it for protection from someone. It was clear that Jared felt that his life was in danger, and that danger must have been real, since Jared was never seen or heard from again.
Well, no, I don't think that's true at all, Marissa. You ever loan someone a gun, Vinny?
No.
That's not something people. That's not something people do. And then he's like, and then he needed his gun back because he was scared. Well, could it have been something else? Maybe that he needed his gun back for. That's a fucking weird story right there.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Yeah. Can I borrow that? I gotta need it for protection for my life because I'm gonna disappear.
It's possible that he shot someone and then skipped town. I'm just saying that she never presents that as a possibility, but it's possible.
The next week, there's a person was shot on the other side of town.
All right.
Mysteriously.
And how is Marissa Jones? Vinny, try to figure out where this woman's from. What accent is this?
But like most young adults, he spent a lot of his time hanging out with friends.
Hanging out with friends. She talks like she's trying to sound human. He spent most of his time hanging out with friends. The fuck is that?
It's not a good like Baltimore.
Yeah, right. It's something like that.
I don't know. That's not
It's Nancy
great.
Grace adjacent. Maybe that's where she's getting this from.
Nancy would have been like, "And your child has been missing since 1994. He must be very, very dead."
Yeah. No, Nancy Grace would say this. I also have a child, but I know where he is. It must suck for you to not know where your child is.
My baby boy was born in 1998, and he's recently graduated high school and college and is doing well. Thank you for asking.
All right, so let's
go back to your dead boy.
Let's talk to a family member who wants to blame the police.
They were like, well, he's 20. He could be off doing whatever he wants. Maybe he doesn't want to be found. I mean, they absolutely did not care. They were not interested in investigating. They were not interested. They had no urgency around his disappearance at all. Because they're like, well, he's an adult. So, there you go. He just wandered off. And we're like, no, you don't understand. He would never, ever, ever do that. They were not interested. So we called the state police, and they basically gave us the same thing. Basically, everybody told us there's really nothing we can do.
Yeah, correct. When an adult is no longer around, it's likely he doesn't want you to find him. The police don't need to get involved in that. Let's blame the cops a little bit more, though.
And it moved around from investigator to investigator. And what we were told was essentially anytime they had a new person that they brought in, like the rookie investigator, they'd slide Jared's case over and say, okay, here, go work on this.
So they were getting...
They'd also switch the salt and the sugar in the break room just to fuck with them.
So they were putting investigators on it routinely? That sounds like a good thing, right? She's like, oh my gosh, and they just kept giving it to different investigators to try to find, what do you want?
See if you could find Brandon Rook.
I mean, seriously, what else do you want? That sounds like a pretty good thing if you're trying to find a guy. I don't know. I could be wrong. But let's find out the real reason why this show exists, Vinny.
Thrive Cosmetics makes high-performance beauty and skincare products with clean, skin-loving ingredients. No parabens, sulfates, or phthalates.
It's all advertising.
Hold on a second. What's the promo code?
Yeah, it's all just fun. Yeah. Oh, my brother is missing is the promo code. If you want 50% off your first order. Profiting from pain is the promo code. This is my favorite thing, though.
Type in blood money.
So there's a lot of advertising on this show.
Get 15% off your
and
first
she presents it so poorly. Even the advertising reads, I'm like, this is so boring. Who would listen? What kind of boring assholes listen to the show? So I went on her Patreon. I'm like, how much money is this woman making on Patreon? Of course, she hides that. But I did see how many patrons she has. 283. Okay. That's less than we have, Vinny. A lot.
Ha, ha,
and let me read to you the description on Patreon. The Vanish podcast is dedicated to sharing the stories of missing person cases that have gone cold. Your generous donations will help defray some of my costs, allow me to purchase better equipment, and one day travel to investigate cases further. Oh, yeah, we need you on the fucking job.
What are you going to do? Go have a cup of coffee and listen to a widow bitch?
Seriously.
Shut up, Marissa.
Oh, I need to start traveling to investigate further. No, you don't. No one needs that. And then under goals, it doesn't say what the goal is, but she's 72% of the way there.
How about find something, anything?
Yeah. Here's her goal. I produce this podcast out of my own pocket. Contributions would help me cover the production costs and purchase better equipment. Marissa, your show is all advertising. Buy better equipment. I don't know what to tell you. You have the money. Go buy some fucking better equipment. And stop threatening to sue me. This woman DM'd me on Facebook saying I'll see you in court. Still waiting, Marissa. Sue me. Still waiting. Bring it.
Did you have to do the sue me part on the creep off? Couldn't you have done that on WADP at least?
Bring it. Let's go.
I can't wait to tell a courtroom that I was under duress during this segment. I cannot wait to just throw you right under the bus.
All right. I just want to remind everyone whose idea this segment was.
Creepos.
That's the voice of Vinnie Paulino, everybody.
You're welcome. Carl,
So,
great presentation. She sucks.
That show is garbage. It is so bad. And of all the true crime shows that suck, that is the suckiest bunch of suck that ever sucked.
And can I say there's nothing suckier than a phony.
Yeah. Very well said, Vinny.
Nothing suckier than a phony.